I made this workout for the shy girl or the girl who likes to work out at home, who wants a really good glute workout that's with all dumbbells. So I just used dumbbells and actually like a block, but you could use a bench or even a chair at home, like some sturdy surface. And you are gonna feel this workout in your glutes. Like, that was so much harder than I thought it was gonna be. So it's a good staple workout that you can continue to do and progress. So I hope you learn some tips how to perform and execute the exercises really well so that you can do it with good form and feel it in your glutes where we want it to be. So if you're new here, I'm Holly. Welcome to my channel, and I hope that you subscribe and stay for a while. Most important aspect of a workout in terms of actually getting results are providing enough mechanical tension to the muscles and progressing it over time so that you do force those muscles to adapt and see change. And I know that at the beginning of your fitness journey, it can feel intimidating to walk into the gym, or maybe it's like a super busy gym and you feel overwhelmed. So you'd rather just grab a dumbbell, go to your spot, and do a routine. Well, let me tell you, this workout was actually super challenging and a great glute focused workout. So I'm going to take you through it with all the tips and tricks. And I recommend, if this is like something you're into, you really do want to see a change in your body, I would love if you would write down the workout and follow it like a staple glute workout, at least for 4 to 6 weeks. Monitor your progress, take before pictures, take after pictures, and change does take time. You'll feel it at the beginning. Try to form the habit and become the identity of somebody who does go to the gym, who does move their body, and who does lift weights, because once it becomes an identity and not just something that you do kind of like off and on, or just for an event, or just a means to an end, it's never going to stick. So how can you embody the person who does go to the gym? And this can be a great workout to get started. And it's actually not a beginner's workout at all. It's super challenging, and I know I'm probably going to be sore tomorrow. So take that with a grain of salt. So I'm going to start with this movement. It's a little bit of a dumbbell sumo deadlift because I am hinging, breaking at the hips, although I don't really come up all the way. So it's almost like a pulse, but I do come through. So it's not just like the bottom of the pulse. My hips are driving all the way down as deep as I possibly can. And then I'm coming back up at like a 45-degree angle. So at the bottom, one of the main factors of it feeling it in my glutes is I'm getting super deep into hip flexion. So you can see my ribs are touching my thighs. That way my glutes are fully stretched, and then I can come through, load them as I stand. That's going into hip extension, which is going to work the glute max. Little tricks is I paused at the bottom and I made sure my core was super, super sturdy. So that one was 3 sets of 12. Then I moved on to a Bulgarian split squat, and oh my gosh, I forgot how much these suck, but I actually love them. Are you the kind of person that loves a good challenge, or are you like, no, Bulgarian split squats, I hate them? Well, try to enjoy the pain, like the pain of a good muscle burn, of getting into that muscle tension. And same idea here as the sumo deadlift. Like, look how deep I'm getting into that hip flexion. I'm breaking at the hips. My knees also bend, but my knee doesn't go too far forward because most of it is from pulling my hips back at a 45-degree angle and keeping that rib drawing towards my thigh, not letting my back round at all. I'm still keeping a flat spine and tension in my lats so that, I can stay compact there and just isolate that leg that I'm working. So my core is working. I am squaring my hips forward towards my front foot. That's the foot that has all of the weight. And what really helps, and I like to cue for my clients, is the breath. Don't neglect it. Try not to hold your breath. Inhale on the way down and exhale on the way up. It's going to make you control it. It's going to make you work your core. Exhale really helps you gather in those core muscles, which is really good for like the female pelvic floor. Well, male too. I don't know why I said female. Just the pelvic floor muscles in general. And it forces you not to rush it. Time under tension. I love to go slow and find the challenge in that. Like, if you're going for hypertrophy, gaining muscle, there's really no need to rush the reps. The slower you go, you can find that mind-muscle connection and find a challenge to get to muscle fatigue where you want to. Okay, so these are super hard. This is a single leg hip thrust. And why it's super hard is because it's not glute max only. It's glute max, of course, because you're going to hip extension, but it's also going to focus on the glute medius and minimus, because when you're on that one leg, to prevent the hip from completely dropping, like my right hip from dropping here, my left glute med has to work a lot to keep my hips balanced and even. So you see I'm struggling to keep my hips level because of that muscle, which is good. We want to work that muscle. It's really great to have a strong glute medius and minimus, super supportive for the body, for the back, but you know, it's challenging. So you might not even want to use a dumbbell for this. I like to show this angle too, because you can see like my chin is tucked and I'm staying kind of crunched in my torso, like my ribs stay down, and all that movement is coming from me dropping from the sternum all the way down to my hips. I drop as low as I can, like my butt's almost touching the floor, and then I come up, hip thrusting, lifting the pelvis up, and then I imagine tilting the pelvis towards my face at the top. It's even more of a challenge if you can to dig your heel in and pull your toes up. That helps you to feel it in your glutes if you struggle with that. It's not necessarily necessary. What is that? But I just enjoy doing it that way, and I think it's helped me to really force the gains to be in my glutes and not just my quads. And here I'm just showing you me like putting the weights away and grabbing my next weights, because I think it's important to walk in there with confidence, to have tunnel vision. Like, it's not that busy of a gym right now, but when you are in the gym and you're trying to get used to the habit of like taking up space, like go in there, maybe put a hat on, put on your noise canceling headphones, wear something that you feel super confident in, and just go do your thing. Follow your plan, progress it. You're gonna feel more and more comfortable. So I got my weights and we're ready for our dumbbell RDL. The first set, I realized I wanted my wrist straps because it was really hard to grip the weights. I have 250s. So here, one cue that helps a lot, which I mentioned in my last video, is to think of your RDL, which is Romanian Deadlift, as a horizontal movement, kind of like a hip thrust, and not a vertical movement. So imagine like your butt going back as far as you can. Like some people say, try to imagine like shutting a car door with your butt, but I think it's even further than that. Like I am driving my hips back as far as I can. You can see, once again, I get into that really deep hip flexion angle. And I think, what am I gonna do here? I'm gonna start the timer, because real quick, side note, always rest between sets. You are not lifting heavy enough or using enough of that intensity to provide mechanical tension to allow for muscle change. If you could just keep going, that means the weight is too light. So yes, get confident with your form. Make sure you know what you're doing, but then challenge yourself with the weights and rest between sets. So now I'm gonna get my wrist straps and we will be ready for round 2 with a little bit easier grip hold. Okay, so we're ready. I'm gonna get those wrist straps on, grab the dumbbells with them, and then I set up each movement intentionally. It's gonna help a lot if you're focused on what you're doing during the exercise and not what you're having for dinner or lunch after the workout. Make sure you are there. You're all there mentally and physically. So your feet are grounded. I turn my knees out. I'm thinking of breaking at my hips, keeping my core solid, my back nice and flat, my lats stay engaged, that area behind my armpit, so that I'm sturdy in my center and I can just have those glutes, and you're definitely gonna work those hamstrings here for the RDL as well. But you can get a little bit more glute focused if you have more of a bend to the knee. So my knees do bend pretty much, quite a bit, but they're not jutting forward too much. I'm getting into that deep hip flexion, ribs to thighs, and then it's all loading my glutes to come through and center. So I'm gonna just slide my shoes on. I actually prefer working out without my shoes for leg day, but most gyms probably won't allow that. And then the last one, this is the Glute Med Hip Thrust. So it does focus on the glute medius and minimus, those muscles that stabilize the hips, but they also perform this movement, which is abduction and a little external rotation. So you're working the standing leg even more than the moving leg, but you're also working the moving leg. So you see how I kind of shift my weight to the right, I come through center, and then I follow through by kind of performing a fire hydrant with the working leg. The whole time my torso stays sturdy. I'm working on keeping my core tight, stable body. Just pop the hip right, pull through center, and push left. It helps if you think of it like 3 separate movements. And the standing leg, I'm not locked out. I'm kind of hinged back a little bit, but kind of like I'm starting an RDL. Like, you still don't want that knee jutting forward in front of the foot. I mean, you can. It would just be a little bit more quad stability than glute stability. It's not necessarily like bad for you, but it's better to pull that hip back, start in a bit of a hinge. Now I'm shifting left, shifting center, following through right. So you just load that dumbbell on the outer thigh. Breathe out as you push it out. I'm telling you, the exhale is going to help you a lot. And I did like 12 the first time and then 2 sets of 10, and that completed the workout. It took me about an hour with 90-second to 2-minute rest intervals. I hope you enjoyed it. You did this workout. I hope you crushed it and enjoyed it. Let me know what you have to say about it in the comments, and I'll see you next time.